Good morning, and good morning. Today is July 31st. We're out the month. It's gone. It is gone. So August 1st is tomorrow, meaning the year only has a few more months and we're out totally. 2020 has come in with a storm, and it appears to be going out with pretty high speed, pretty high wind, and still having us in a tailspin of what's next. What is next for us as a people? What have we? The world has experienced what we're experiencing in regards to this virus, and so I talked to you today just to say, wow, you know, here we are again. And before I go too far, I want to say happy birthday to a friend of mine, Jackie Holly. If you're watching, every once in a while you're able to catch me. Happy birthday. You know I'd sing to you if you were around, but I don't have to do that today. I'll sing to you on the phone later. But anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. But anyway, today we are talking about now, not later, not next week, not next month. We're talking about now. What does now mean? How does it affect you? Um, Affect you or effect you? Because sometimes, depending on which way we're looking at now, it could be, devastating, or it could affect other things as we continue to avoid it, continue to avoid what we should be working on now. And so it ends up being an issue, a problem, a concern, a situation. And we don't want to put ourselves in those kind of things. We want to make it where it's going to work for us. It's going to work for us. Good morning, Jay. How are you? So we want to make everything that's supposed to work for us work for us. So today I have a poem, and on Life is Now. And this is by Holly Ann Boucher. And of course, I found it on the internet. It's not mine, but it has some good stuff in it. It was just published in 2016. So sometimes we don't have to be a famous, author to write something that has great, what I say, great stretch for the world, great understanding for those who need to hear it. Sometimes we can write something for ourselves, but it has great meaning for other people as well. So anyway, it says, life is now. Time flies and memories fade. People change and new friendships are made. Only the true remain forever are at our side. Eventually, the disappointment and the pain will subside. It is all about the journey and what has yet to come. Life is what you make it. You are what you've become. Life is too short to hold on to regrets. Forgiveness is the key, even though you may never forget. Cherish the good and remove the bad. Some people don't realize it till it's gone what they had. Moving on is a way of life. There will always be obstacles, pain, and strife. You must believe that you are strong enough to fight. You have to believe in yourself to do what is right. Always do for you, no matter what you do. Because in the end, the only one who has your back is you. Never be afraid to take a stand, and always be willing to lend a helping hand. A little bit goes a long way. All it takes is a smile to brighten someone's day. Your chance to live is now, so what are you waiting for? The world is yours for the taking, and so much more. Endless possibilities are forever at your disposal. The chance to live another day is life's golden proposal. I like this poem because it talks about just living, just understanding that, no matter what you're going to go through, you need to live your life. Nothing is promised. We're not saying that. Good morning, Volta. Good to see you in the space here. You don't know how long we have to live. We don't know what's going to happen in terms of our lives, but we need to live every day as if there is no tomorrow. We need to live to make the plans for today, do them today. And even if you're planning for tomorrow, you still have to plan it. Some people are what I call sudden trip takers. Not me. I have to plan my trip. Because before I leave, I have to make sure everything else is in order. So for me to just say you can come and we're going to head out to California tomorrow, not me. I have to make sure everything is okay here in Florida before I leave for California. Making sure the bills are paid and, the house is secure and the dog is in the kennel. All those kinds of things that really talk about what now is. Now is extremely important to me. Right in the thread there if you think now is important to you. Some people don't. They don't worry about now. They worry about tomorrow. But guess what? When you get to tomorrow, the things you should have done before that was now, you let them go. You let them go. So anyway, I'm going to ask you the question. Are you stuck? Sure we are. We all get stuck. You may not be stuck today. You may not be stuck now, but you may be stuck soon. Or you may be stuck next week or next year. And all of us are stuck right now just dealing with this pandemic, just trying to figure out how do we maneuver our lives around the possibility of getting sick. We always had that possibility before, but I think it has been crystallized with the fact that no one knows how the virus spreads. No one knows how some people can fight it off. No one knows how other people cannot fight it off and become fatal victims of it. There's just no sure way. Good morning, Lamont, my nephew in New York. There's no sure way of how we get anything. But what we do know is that we're stuck until it's over. We're stuck until they find a cure. We're stuck until, things are better. And then eventually we may just learn to understand how we live with it. We may live with it understanding that we can't be close to people unless, we know what they do, where they're at all the time, what they're breathing in, what they're taking in. We don't know any of that. We don't know, because people can't be with you 24/7, even though some people like people to be with them 24/7. But you never know. So anyway, today's word is now. So the now is, you say, well, what is now? Now is the present time or moment. It's right now. Right now, what are you doing? Okay. What are you doing for the now of today? What's on your agenda for today? Write down. What do you have planned? And then how real are you to making the plans work? Because some people say, I got all these things on my list, and they don't finish a one, not near one. So I'm saying, are you a planner and then you actually get to work and get it done? Or are you one who plans it but never follows through on it? I don't know. So anyway, now talks about currently. Currently, this is what you're going to do. Currently means present. It means today. It says it also could mean in the day and age, in this day and age. Good morning, T. Hope you're doing well. It says at this minute, just now, right now. All those things talk about the immediacy of what now is. So now becomes important if you've made it important. But if now becomes later, then that later already has, to me, a time period on it that can't be determined. When you say something is later, you didn't really give it a time unless you say, I'll do it later about 3:00. Okay, that gives it some anchor. But if you say later, then people don't know what later means. You have to give it something. Later on today, later on next week, by Wednesday. That means there's a plan on it. But when something is requested of you now, how quick are you to get on it? Sometimes if it's tied up with money, we can do better, or if it's tied up with reputation, we can do better. We can get it done. And sometimes if it's tied up with your job, with what people may in terms of opinion of you, or that you may get it done. But now is something that just speaks to right now. right now, I got to get it done. I'm working on my taxes now. I have to sit down and pay my bills now. I have to go to an appointment by 11 o'clock. That means I'm on my way now. So all those things, good morning, my sweet Candace. So all those things speak to what now does. Now means immediate. Now means present. Now means I'm in the throes of whatever it is that I'm being required to do. So now becomes important. I'm gonna give you a little quick story. My daughter, when she was little, and she still does that crap now, but when she when she was little, she would constantly, I would tell her, I'm not gonna say her name, but some of y'all do, you know her name. But I said, "Dear, can you come? Mom has something for you." She always say, "I got to do this first. I got to do this first." She couldn't speak really good because she was about 3. Got to do this first, but she knew how to say that. And I said, "Now, did you think she moved? No. Her now became more important than my now. So sometimes you have to understand what people do with now. They heard what you said. They understood what you wanted them to do. But their now becomes dominant. Yours becomes subdominant. And so the parent, that whole parent-child thing, she's better now. If I call her and I need something, she's going to do it. She's going to certainly get here. But her now is just more important than my now. And sometimes we as parents, we as friends, people will tell you, I'm on my way. I'm on my way. 2 hours later, the problem, the alarm is over, and I remember, having a few clients when I worked in the hospital where we would tell them, well, it looks like, your loved one is not going to make it. And they would say, we're on our way. By the time they get there, the loved one had succumbed. So you just never know what now means. You sometimes have to be in the middle of understanding their now, the urgency of it, and then putting your now with it, because sometimes the nows don't meet. Theirs means now, yours means as when I get around to it. But I think if you can put that in the details, hey, look, I'm tied up right now. I'm coming. I don't know when I'm going to get there. Because then that gives credibility. That just says, hey, I already had something going on. I can't come right now, but as soon as I get done with this, I'll be there. So to me, that gives understanding. That gives people, what I say, more information than understanding that their now can't be as important to you because you already had something going on. So anyway, so when we break the word down, the N stands for necessity, or something is necessary, meaning it's required to be done. It's to be achieved, to be present, to be needed, essential or determined, existing or happening by natural laws, or it says predestination or inevitable behavior. Something is just being required. And sometimes we don't always look at it that way, because we may even put things on what I call a hierarchy. The now may be important, but because you have some other things going on, you push it down. So the now becomes later. And so then we understand the shift. But if you don't always explain it, people don't understand it. They say, well, they said they'd be over here in a minute. Minutes become hours, hours become next week. So anyway, something that is necessary, a lot of times it's obligatory, meaning you've obligated to it, or it's a requisite, it's a required area for you to do. It's compulsory, mandatory, imperative. It's something that's been demanded of you, or needed, or needful, essential, indispensable, vital, of an essence, and of incumbent. So all of those things speak to what necessary is required of you. But we don't always put it. So once again, we have to go back in the frame of mind of whose now am I working on, theirs or mine? If mine was already in process, then I need to tell them that I already had something going on, can't come right now. That gives anchor. that gives peace to people to understand the importance of it. So when we move on and we talk about now, the O of now is something that's obligatory, meaning a lot of times we've committed to something, but we keep putting it off. You know, when you bought a house, you committed to making house payments. Same thing with a car, you know, same thing with a degree. You know, they want their money. You may still be in school, but guess what? They can shut it down in case you stop paying. And they don't care if you don't come. I'm going to tell you, schools are schools, but they do care if you don't pay and you're still enrolled. So that may become a problem. So something that's really obligatory, it really talks about something that may be required by law, by moral, or by other rules that's being, compulsory, meaning that it's something that you kind of obligated to. You said you would do it, or you said you would be a part of something. You said that you were going to finish something. You said that you were going to pay something. You said that you would participate in something. All those things talks about a lot of times we get in trouble because we've obligated ourselves. And I tell you, the pandemic has really helped me. It's helped me because I haven't obligated myself to as much as I used to. I used to have 7, 8 things going in a day, and my schedule would be crazy where I'm running all over this city. So I don't do that anymore. So I've settled down on that. I still am obligated, and but what I've learned to do is understand if my now is more important than their now, and if it is, I let them know. Meaning I can't meet that meeting that you're saying is mandatory, or I can't be present at that event because I'm not feeling safe. Meaning my now is urgent that I take care of myself. I'm in that age group. Good morning, Miss Shirley. So I'm in that age group. So therefore, if I'm standing in that age group, I'm gonna make sure that I let you know my now is more important. My taking care of myself is more important than what it is that you might be requesting. So to really have something being obligated, you're really talking about mandatory stuff. Something that may have been prescribed, something that's required, demanded, or enforced. That's the legal side. Something that's incumbent, unavoidable, essential, binding, statutory, necessity, or imperative. So all those things really speak to, if you've obligated yourself for something, how do you get around it? How do you navigate, something that you've committed to? So you have to sometimes go back out and define the commitment, readdress, reassess what you can and cannot do. Good morning, Sharon. And sometimes that's very difficult for us because we said, well, we gave our word that we were going to be there. We gave our word that we were going to do this and do that. But people are understanding if you explain, but if you just don't show up, or you just don't make it a part of an important thing enough for them to understand where you're at, that something shifted on your side where you can't come. Maybe you're not feeling well. Maybe someone is sick and you need to take care of them. So those things really address how you have to readdress what you've obligated yourself to do now. So your now becomes different and it no longer coincides with what you said you would do with them now or for them now. And so you understand that that's a significant difference than nows. I always look at my nows now. I didn't before. I would always say, oh, sure, that sounds good to me. But now I don't do it like that anymore. I just tell them, hey, can't do it. Would like to. Or, even I'm starting now to have conflicts with Zoom. It's like, what the heck? So now everyone, where they weren't obligating you, before you were obligated physically in your presence, face to face, now they do it by Zooming or Google Meetings or whatever else is out there, GoToMeetings. So they have some of everything. So the platforms are changing. I think futuristically, we're still going to have to deal with our nows in terms of our schedules, because I think ultimately, as long as we remain in a state of pandemic, I'm naming it with this COVID-19, that we are going to have to be concerned about where we go, when we go, how we go, and who's there when we get there. And since that's still a question that they're talking about might not be straightened out until sometime in 2021, then we need to have a game plan that speaks to our now and makes it right for us. Makes it right for us so that we don't put ourselves in a situation that makes us sick or makes us, frustrated, complicated, angry, hurt, whatever. We just need to make sure that we've paid attention to what it is we committed to and what their now is and how we can make it our now or we can't. If we can't, then we need to say that. And the last, the W of now is for well-informed. Well-informed. Well-informed is to provide with sufficient information and knowledge, having or showing much knowledge about a wide range of subject or about one particular subject. And a lot of times we commit to something, I'm speaking to myself too, where I don't know all the details. And you know that old saying, the devil is in the details. Sometimes people tell you things surfacely. They don't tell you that they're asking you to come now and participate in something that they're doing, but it's going to go on for 8 hours. It's going to go on for 12 hours, and you're needed. So and mine now says stay home. Okay, I stay home pretty good. Now I do go out to one meeting a week, and sometimes, Candace, I've done it where I've zoomed, but then they stop zooming. So I don't know. Some people have this urgency to do their now, which is to get out amongst people, but I don't let them hug me. I don't get close. I'm trying to work it the best way I can. Let me put it that way. But anyway, when you talk about something being well informed, that means you need to know the details of what's going on. You need to be educated. You need to have some intellect about what it is you've involved yourself in. You need to be knowledgeable, aware in the know of what it is being requested of you. You need to be trained, versed with whatever's coming your way. Because, they always say, something's coming your way, you need to know what's coming. If a hurricane is coming, we need to know to be prepared. It's the same thing. If the bills are due on the first of the month, we can't wait to the second of the month to look at paying the bills. By that time, the bill is late. So we need to look at how we look at now. Like I sit down and try to pay my bills at a certain time every month, and because they've gone online, everything makes it much easier. It's easier to get a bill paid. For me. Now I know for some people, they still do the old-fashioned check writing. And I think you probably see in the next 4 or 5 years, just like disc, you're not going to, in tapes and stuff, you're not going to find it where it's so easy to pay with those form of tender. It's not. They're just not going to make it easy for you. As the world gets more virtualized, everything, they're going to figure it out where everything can be done through your phone, through your computer, and people will be connected to pay bills and do everything. It's already started. And, I think in the next 3, 4, 5 years, this will be a blemish of thought. It's like, oh, I'm going to use a check. No, you won't. They don't do checks anymore. It's on its way. So anyway, here's the questions for today about your now. What must you give attention to right now? Right now. And these are personal questions, so put it in your, little area of your paper book that I hope you go back to and write on this subject of now. And I want you to be honest. Don't just give a statement or just listen and never do anything with it. Do it now. Do it. Say, you know what? This makes sense to me. It makes sense that I would look at what now does to me or doesn't do to me. Because even if you're in your house, there's still some things that I'm quite sure you need to do now. You know it. You know, it may be to, sanitize, certain sections of the house where there's a lot of traffic with the family members. It may be to, sit down and pay bills. Today's the 31st, whatever it is. It's something. There's something that's being required of you. Question number 2, what is the necessary obligation that you keep putting off? You keep putting it off, but you know it's necessary. And I'm going to ask you the second portion, of the B portion of that question. Are you a procrastinator? Write it down. Now, I used to be, and I think I told some of you, heard that I took a incomplete one time in college. And it was actually in grad school when I first started my master's program. And nope, it was my doctoral program. And I remember that being the craziest life I ever lived because it hung over me. It was like something I could never get back to because I had a full load for this semester. So, no, it was a term. I had a full load. So for me to deal with something else, I was absolutely, good morning, Ashley, I was absolutely crazy. I could not get over how ignorant I was to have done that. So I said in my lifetime, after that, when I took it, I think it was like my second term at my university, and I said that will never happen. And I never did it again because I found that I just added more pressure on me because the instructor wasn't going to let up. They were going to give me an incomplete or an F, and I didn't want an incomplete. In fact, I took the incomplete, but I didn't want it to turn into a negative grade. So I had to eventually get on it. And I remember pulling like probably a week of all-nighters just to get it done because of the type of research it was. And sometimes you have to pay attention to what you're procrastinating about. And if the procrastination puts you not only further away from what now is, but it never gets done, it ultimately becomes your black eye, And I have a girlfriend that always says, you wear that black eye because it's never done. So it's always like a sore spot. It always pays attention to, man, I never finished that. I never got back around to doing that, and I should have. And the last question is, do you know, or are you well informed about the consequences of putting things off to later? Do you know currently, or are you well informed about the consequences of putting things off till later? Meaning you put them in the not now category. Are you that kind of person? Once again, we're just talking about what your now is, trying to get you to your now. Can you stand on your now and get things done, or do you put things off? Don't know. But to me, now means immediate. It means, okay, I got to get this done today. I have some things I have to do as soon as I finish this that I will get done. And every day I kind of mark myself on, did I finish what I set out to do? And sometimes we never go back because the day becomes a blur. It becomes a blur. Why? Because we let everything else, avalanches, come in on us, and we end up falling short of what we planned to do. But I say, set a plan, stay with your plan, and don't put a lot of things on your now. Some things have to be on now, especially if it's bill paying, if it's urgent things that keep you, what I call, happy. Do those things, because I'm going to be unhappy if my bills aren't paid and my lights are turned off. That would make me unhappy, So I systematically go through to make sure that I keep things that make sense to me, And in order for me to do that, I have to get some order. So I know I have a time I sit down. I have a time I look at things. Good morning, OJ. So I look at things systematically. How do I address my now? And my now is important. My now tells me, how can I not be stuck? Okay, if I do this now, then I'm not going to be stuck on this later. If I pay attention now of what it is that is required of me, then later on, I'm not worried about this because I made now important. And so to me, now should be important enough that you get it done, you know. And I know that sometimes because of family, friends, jobs, we don't always get to everything that we set out to do. But if you make your list of things to do in a day and you keep it where I would say reasonable. If you keep it reasonable, you'll get through it. If you make it where you got 10 things and you only have 8 hours and you have, children, job, husband, wife, all those things, then it becomes cumbersome. It becomes too much, and to me, that's when we see built-in disappointment, built-in failure, built-in um bad feelings. Man, I can't get anything done. Why? Because sometimes we just put too much on ourselves to get done. So we need to rework what it is that we're going to do now, and only put on your list things you can accomplish if you sit down and get them done. And it may be something physical. Maybe that you need to go out and weed your garden or something to make sure that the vegetables and fruits still grow. It may be that you need to write a letter of apology to somebody, or you need to pay some bills. The bills never go away. But anyway, these are pretty much what Now talks about. It talks about doing something now, understanding your now versus somebody else's now that you've committed to. And sometimes those nows don't always work. It talks about what is the necessary thing to do, what you're obligating yourself to do, and how well informed you are about what it is you need to do or what someone has asked you to do. Now, today is Friday, and I want you to have a wonderful weekend. I wish you well in your now. I'm hoping that you will pay attention to it and make it what you can do, make it what you want to do, make it what you need to do. I'll call him back in a minute, but I just wish you a wonderful weekend. Love on whoever you need to love. I'm gonna tell you all I love you, that you show up in this space with me, and you trust me enough to keep coming back. Share it if you will. I'd really appreciate that. Or you don't even have to write anything next to it. Just share it. Because I always write a little bio for it. I try to always say something about what I'm talking about. Today was now, but we've done everything. We've done wise, we've done tower, less, more. So, and I try to keep the words small enough where I have time to get through them so that people can go back to work, or they can go back to watching TV or whatever they were doing before they came to spend a little time with me. But I love you, I love you, I love you, and I hope to see you on Monday when we'll work again, called Are You Stuck? Yes, periodically we all get stuck. So do your now. See you Monday. Thank you. Bye-bye.